To briefly explain the butt joint, the way that you would go about attaching that is just lining the slab up against the other slab. So you can see right here, I'm lining my slab up against that one. It's on the tabletop, and then I just attach it that way. You could do it that way, or you can put it on top of the slab. Um, Either way works. There's no better way to do it. It's kind of up to you. One thing to take into consideration is that your vase would be a little bit longer in width if you attached it on top of the slab, and if you placed it next to the slab, it would be longer in length. So again, you would just slip and square that all together, and I show this in the video, so I really don't elaborate on that in this video. This is in the 4-hour video if you would like to see how I did it for my two-sided slab vase. So that is how you make a butt joint. So a beveled or miter joint requires that smooth kidney that you guys got in your clay kits. And what I'm doing here is I'm slowly and gradually taking away the clay along the side of the vase. My kidney is running along the flat tabletop surface, and I kind of slowly bring it in, and you can see I'm kind of just shaving this away. You don't want to try to get it all in one go, or else you're likely to distort your slab. So you do want to take your time with this, do it over a period of time, opposed to doing it kind of all in one go. So it took me like, 4 or 5 times shaving that away for it to get to that angle that I'd like for it to be. So for the beveled joint, you can do this if you are doing a 2-sided vase or a 4-sided vase. If you are doing a 4-sided vase, you will need to do the beveled joint, just because it's going to be the one that looks the best. For the 2-sided vase, you get the option between the two. The beveled joint is stronger than the butt joint because it exposes more surface area on the seam where it's being attached. So again, the butt joint is the weakest type of joint just because it doesn't expose as much surface area, and then the beveled is more strong than the butt joint. So you slip and score it, you line it up together. It has those two 45-degree angles on each of the slabs, and they total up to a 90-degree angle, which will be perfect for your 2-sided vase or your 4-sided vase. And then I just wanted to show you guys how that would look if you have a vase shape. I know I just showed you on 2 slabs, so I wanted to show you that it was in fact possible to do on a curved shape. But just look how many times it takes me to go over it and get that 45-degree angle. It's a slow process. It's better to take your time with it, and make sure you do it right that first time. So this shouldn't be news to you, but you should be slipping and scoring those 2 slabs together. So any slab that is touching another slab, wherever it is attaching to the other slab, you need to slip and score it. Please make sure you are doing this step. One thing I've noticed as I've seen some pinch pots and coil vases come in is that there hasn't been some slipping and scoring there. It's hard to tell online, but in person it is very obvious. Please make sure you're doing this. This is totally a necessary step. Otherwise, your project will likely break. So the last step that you're going to take while you're assembling your walls is to reinforce your seam with a coil. So what you're going to do is grab some clay, roll out a coil. The thickness doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if it's perfect just because you're going to blend it out and it's going to pretty much disappear in that seam. So you don't have to get too caught up on it. But this personally is my favorite step just because when I do this, I know that the walls that I put together for my slabs, I know that they're going to be as safe as possible and as structurally sound as possible. So what I do here is I just take my coil, cut it to size, and then I slip and score the seam. It's important to do it not only on the seam, but the coil. I really think that this step is needed for the seam. You don't want to kind of skip this step, because if you do, you could accidentally leave air behind the coil, a pocket of air, and then the coil would just kind of pop out of that seam when it's drying out and or when it's been fired. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start blending the coil out. So see how my right hand is kind of on the outside of the vase supporting the wall as I blend out the coil. That's something that I do the whole time. Okay, and then you really do want to blend your coil out as thoroughly as possible. I like to see when my kind of clay has the slip oozing out of the sides. At that point, I know that there are no air pockets down there. So in a second, I'm going to hold up my vase and show you the difference between that coil blended out and not really blended out. Blending out your coil makes a world of a difference. It gets you more points on the project. Like I said, this is a step that you have to take, so you might as well do it very well. But look how seamless that coil down there is. You want to make sure that it's as seamless as possible. You don't want to just kind of stick the coil in there or kind of just pat it in like I did originally and then not take the extra step to blend it out. This just helps really reinforce that seam. Okay, and then the last thing you're going to do is you are going to blend out that seam on the outside. I like to get a slipping and scoring tool, so you would just kind of score up that side. I like to do this just because it's the easiest way to get the seam to disappear. So yeah, and then I smooth it out, and sometimes I like to grab little pieces of clay and just smear it in to the walls of my vase. Again, guys, your guys' vase walls should be somewhere between plastic and leather hard. You don't want them to be quite leather hard, but definitely not plastic. Plastic will make your life much harder than it would be. And that is pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a good time assembling your vase.